Alan 101 again, and this time we gotta talk about up forward 3+4 or flashing Trident because this move looks very different. Yeah, it never did that before. So we're gonna start off one by one. This move can do 3 things now instead of 2. So back to the old one, which is up forward 3+4. Again, still +1 and -10 on block. Nothing special here. Pretty much just like a jab, but unsafe at 14 frames. So if you do get this to connect, a lot of your situations are like the jab on block. So if, let's say, the opponent does decide to attempt to sidestep left, DF2 will always be your best friend. Or perhaps down back 4 if they decide to step towards the right. DF1, this is an asterisk, has a chance of catching the opponent, and at the same time can lose to the opponent. So at that point, you gotta default to maybe back 4, but then this will put you at -10, so that's a little bit of a risk. Like, what about less risk options? Perhaps down back 4. This also has an asterisk, just like DF1. So at that point, if those moves don't work, you can always just down back 3. This will do its job. In terms of mids, well, there ain't other mids that you can like use in this situation. Yeah. So the opponent sidestepping right, your best default option is pretty much to just sidestep left into a block. Of course, if they're stepping towards the left, it's great. So you could just like DF2. So it just always depends, always on like what your opponent wants to do. Now let's go to the juicy part, wherein this move can now enter Flamingo after holding forward. So basically, he's learned from his master once more. So this makes funky combos just like this. Like, if you don't know a combo, all you gotta remember is up forward, 3+4 forward. Again, when in doubt, simply up forward, 3+4 forward. That's all you gotta do. I don't know the combo. Oh, don't worry, I got you. That's all you gotta do. Up forward, 3+4 forward, and then just remember LFS up forward 4, and then you're done. You got a basic Hwoarang already. Basic Hwoarang guide, link in the description. So it does enter +9 on hit, and then of course on block, this was already covered before. The situation is not exactly the greatest, and if you haven't seen that, also link in the description below. But let's focus more on +9, because now this turns into a really decent, it turns into, I wouldn't say strong, but it turns into a decent 14 frame punisher, because again, you're leaving a lot of damage on the table. So if you didn't decide to punish something that's -14 with 4-3, or because 4-3 doesn't reach there, or you didn't want to, let's say, also do DF3+4, if you didn't want to enter heat, you could do a 4-3+4 forward, but you can see there's a huge damage difference between the two. But you are getting +9 at Flamingo, and your opponent can't really interrupt you. Let's say they do a jab, right? And we're gonna try to use a option that catches all. So let's say you default to LFS back 4-3. All right, that beats a jab. You beat the down jab. Question is, do you beat the power crush? You do not. I was like, okay, is there another option that would beat the power crush? Yeah, LFS 3. So you're completely fine there. LFS forward 3 would still lose to the power crush. So at that point, you could default to simply just doing LFS 3 forward, or you could do a very delayed LFS 3-4 or a very delayed LFS 3-2. That's NCC, and that's gonna hit. And of course, at worst, you're only -11, so that's fine. Of course, you can always just change it back to LFS 1, so really good default options, and LFS back 4-3, but you just lose to the power crush there. So speaking of those default options, so okay, that's what happens if they challenge you. What happens if they decide to step? So if they decide to step at +9, LFS 1 will still catch, LFS 3 still catches, LFS back 4-3 doing its job, and of course LFS down back 4 hitting them. Now of course, what about down 3-4? You didn't mention down 3-4. Yeah, down 3-4 will still catch them. It's just that if they do duck down 3-4 again, since version 1.5, 16 frame while standing moves will pretty much beat you out, and that's not good. So we're just trying to like stay as safe as possible. So this is against sidestep right now, and again, all these options are catching, but like you're completely fine if they do decide to step and or what do you call this, challenge. The one last sidewalk right, LFS 1 connect, LFS 3, LFS back 4-3, and LFS down back 4. So it's really good to like earn more potential damage when this move does hit an opponent. And if of course it's like used as a punisher, because again, like the situation on block is very risky and very, very weak to sidewalk right. So let's say you didn't want to do a forward 3+4 forward because you can only use it as a punisher, then you could simply throw out the full string of forward 3+4 forward. Something Hawk. This is a forward 3+4 forward. Now it has more damage now, or I think it does exactly the same damage. It does one higher there, one more damage, because these used to do similar damage back in 7. So now it has like more damage if you decide to do a full 14 frame punish. And something new has happened here. It's now +7 on hit. So that's a very, very strong +7. But of course, with Hwoarang, frames will always be deceiving. So if the opponent does decide to backdash, that's when your options start to whiff, like so. So very, very common options would whiff here in this situation if you were looking to catch their sidestep. I think this is just like the best default option an opponent can do. If they do decide to sidestep, of course, it's pretty much free money because, again, they're -7, of course, but are the frames perhaps deceiving us, where the pushback on hit is 100% against you? Well, no. I mean, you still have options that should catch this side. So it's not the end of the world, but you have to like specifically use moves that would catch the step, or like the second move would catch the step. Or just like, okay, it's not really that good. But we'll focus on backdash, because by starting on backdash first, we can start to see if those options would work against sidestep left and sidestep right. So the first thing you want to do if the opponent is going to backdash is, of course, you saw it earlier, down back 4. But of course, if their backdash is good, you could switch to RFF down back 3. Or if you'd like, you know, RFF down 4. And take your pick between the 3 lows. The last 2 should always pretty much work. Down back 4 will just have a tendency to lose against a stronger backdash. So your lows are covered, you're set. What about mids? You can JFSR. Of course, JFSR doesn't have as much tracking as before. So like, what's another mid I can use? RFF3. That's right, RFF3 can work out. Of course, you can include a homing move, but again, that's too slow. Provided if the opponent decides to challenge RFF back 2, can catch a backdash. Although again, this move doesn't have as much tracking either. You can't throw out the homing move because it's too short. Or well, they're your second homing move in RFF, it's too short. So I guess that's about it. So now it's time to check sidesteps, right? So with the options that we have now, would they win against sidestep left and sidestep right? So we're gonna start with sidestep left. So again, you're gonna do the full string of 4 3+4 4, and down back 4 wins. Great. How about down back 3? That still wins. And down 4. Alright, so off to a really good start with lows. And of course, mentioned this earlier, JFSR will not hit if you're immediately doing it. So what about RFF3? Alright, that still misses. If B, this probably could have been the thing that saves you, but not in this scenario. What about another flashing trident? Okay, another flashing trident could work after RFF back 2. Again, linear, no tracking. But what if they sidestep towards the right? So again, down back 4. Pretty much doing its job along with all the other lows. JFSR still whiffing. RFF back 2 actually hitting this time. Alright. Flashing trident now whiffing here, so it doesn't track towards the right, only tracks towards the left. Full string again. Then RFF3. Okay, so now you have a left and a right. So if they're stepping left, up 4 3+4, and then if they're stepping right, RFF3, and potentially RFF back 2 as well. So we're gonna do it 2 more times for sidewalk left. Up 4 3+4 4, down back 4, into down back 3, and down 4. Alright, covers all the lows. Let's go to mids now. Again, flashing trident still doing its job. JFSR, nope. RFF back 2, nope. And then RFF3, no. But of course, sidewalk right, since we already saw it from earlier, in all likelihood, those last 2 mids will connect, which makes it very handy, since you now have moves that would track towards specific sides. It's just that JFSR really is only for, what do you call this, opponents that are backdashing. Now, there is a little bit, there's like one trick you can do if they're attempting to sidestep and you still want to do JFSR. So what you do is you're going to hop back in JFSR and then hop back in RFF rather, and then you're going to JFSR. This will make you realign with them. But of course, if they do decide to backdash, you're going to whiff right in front of their face. But this can be a little bit of a bait. So let's say we record it wherein they're gonna backdash and they're gonna like try to press a button, catch you. There could be a chance where JFSR would still win that interaction. Yeah, so something like that. That could potentially be in your favor, but there are probably other scenarios where you could lose if you attempt to do backdash JFSR. That's just only one out of the many I can demonstrate in this video. So let's go to attempting to punish this move, right? So if the opponent attempts to punish the string, which is -10, they can buffer it. They can buffer their punish 100%. It's very, very simple. The moment they see this string, they'll show you one by one. So this is against up forward 3+4. As soon as I see this move, I'm gonna mash it. You can see it on the left side of the screen. Just mash. Just mash jab. So this is very good for Mishimas or characters that are 1-1-2. But if you want to do like a 1-2, then you can like mash 1-2 right after. Assuming like your 1-2 will come out cleanly. Right? Like so. Same thing if I make it the full string. My mash, perfect. Mashing, perfect. So like they have an OS which existed back in Tekken 7. But now, if they're going for this kind of defensive option, right, on block, then that's when, albeit very risky, this is what could simply counter it. Because now if they attempt to jab buffer their punish, they'll always lose here. So now they're forced to like go back to the old option. And if they go back to the old option, right, to look after LFS back 1, since they're trying to confirm whether Flamingo came out or not, this makes it now very difficult to punish, what do you call this? The -10. Of course, if they see the full string, I guess it's possible. But if it's just the first two, and they sidestep right, oh, it's like, oh, it's gone. So, since they can't jab buffer the punish against LFS back 1 now, they kind of let this -10 go for free, which now makes it like a decent panic button. Like, it was already a decent panic button before. Like, it's slightly better now because now, like, a punishment option is denied because another one exists. So, just to throw that out again. There you go. Like, it's gonna be like a 50-50 on, like, whether they're gonna get the punish or not. So, again, just staying in, like, the really safe route. So, they're, like, trying to get, like, maximum reward. So, at that point, you're, like, in control of that. So, it's like, how are they defending against up forward 3+4 and up forward 3+4 forward? If they're going for this kind of OS where they can jab, buffer their punish, then you wouldn't have to worry as much about the -2 on block because now the game state's focused on that. But if they are aware of this, then at that point, it is a little bit risky. But you can just simply throw these two out, because -10, it's a small punish. For a low crush, right? I didn't mention that earlier. This does low crush. Like, again, like, if you want to check in left Flamingo, this is a really good thing to do. And you don't really get penalized for, like, doing so. It's just that, of course, if the opponent is very awake and aware for a 4-3+4 forward, then yeah, then that's when it becomes a problem if it goes on block. But again, -10, pretty much a small thing to pay for to, like, gather new information against your opponent to, like, rebuild the stuff you need to do when you enter left Flamingo again, or if you just, like, simply want to, like, throw it out. So yeah, that's everything about Flashing Trident, the brand new Flashing Trident. That's been the lesson for today. Again, I've been Frontier, and thank you for watching.